Hello, adventurers. Lex Gray here. Welcome to another entry. Today we are exploring episode 16 of Morter's Travels. Let's begin. Now, this is where we currently are. We're still in Corwood for now. We're focused on Morter at the moment. Also, a couple of, one big hurdle I created for myself was not going into detail, zooming in to the fight between Morter and Tegan. I've been working Tegan up for an episode or two, at least to make him out to be the big boss. But I regretted not actually zooming into that fight, going into using several rolls. I just did the whole one roll sum and went from there. So what I decided to do is just think of a flashback scene, and to make it fit in narratively, I believe Mortar is going to be speaking to Ellery because she is confused and befuddled as to how he was able to best a veteran warrior, a big crime boss such as Tegan. So, let's begin. First, when Mortar busted the door down after hearing Ellery scream, she was hanging off the outside of the window with the curtain that was slowly tearing off the rings. The big guy, Tegan, turns around and sees an intruder. He doesn't know who this kid is. He's an intruder, which has been the topic for today. So, instinct kicks in. He rushes at Mortar. Since Mortar is agile, not exactly a tall fellow, but thin, he was able to dodge. And in doing so, with his dagger, he probably cut Tegan's leg. Now, Tegan was probably in a scuffle with Ellery for maybe a few moments, but I assume Tegan was injured in the process, so at least hurt halfway, maybe half health. So let's say 3 health, perhaps 2 health, plus two. So in doing that, that demobilizes him. Immobilizes him. He collapses forward, drops to his knees, turns around, maybe throws a dagger at Mortar, and Mortar sees it coming. He just dodges, or perhaps gets hit, nicked in the shoulder, or maybe the knife does hit. So here's what we can do. Let's say the knife did actually hit Mortar. I will decrease his health to +3. Mortar takes that same knife and pulls out his shoulder and fueled with adrenaline, while also hearing Ellery scream for help. Ellery does not know Mortar is in the room at the moment. So the big guy, Tegan, tries to get up, but his foot is still sliced. Maybe he got a tenant, what do you call it? A tenant cut, a muscle cut on his leg. So Mortar takes that same knife and throws it at Tegan. Tegan takes the knife into perhaps the shoulder, the back shoulder, and screams in pain. At the same time, Mortar, again, I'm trying to consider Mortar's character here. He again is this passive, skilled, and obsessed. He's obsessed with saving Ellery. Ellery's a friend at this point. So he takes maybe a chair and WWF just WrestleMania hits uh, hits the chair at the back where the knife is. So an impromptu weapon against Tegan's back. He falls forward and he hits his head on the doorframe, knocking himself out. And that's it. He's knocked out. He's not dead. So let's go to Tegan's character sheet and basically say that Tegan was knocked out at this point. Because after he's knocked out, Mortar was in a rush. He gets up and he goes to the curtain, pulls Ellery up. We had some narrative flair from that at that point, but she is so pissed off. He basically says, "I got him. We gotta go. Let's get out of here." Ellery says she's not done. She walks up to the unconscious, the knocked out Tegan. This may be dark, but she basically starts kicking in his head at the doorframe, crushing his skull. And then they go. Mortar was kind of mortified. Mortified. Hey, that works. But then from there, we go back to what we had before. They get back up to the rendezvous point, their meet point, and they exchange happenings, what occurred, and we're back to where we left off. So I figured that was the best way to summarize what happened. A quick, brutal fight. I should have done Enter the Fray, Strike, Endure Harm, Clash, all of the moves. So, inspired by those potential moves I could have done, I will go back to using the moves. So I have the Lone Star book here, not a sponsor, never a sponsor, and we will be using the moves based on as the events unfold. But I feel we have reached the end of this arc for Morter. So Morter's travels, not for Morter as a whole, for this, for finding the mother, for finding Glara. So looking at his character sheet, what I decided to put in at the background val was find my brother Hulf. Find my brother Hulf. And here's another flashback or another retcon slash connection or addition later on. Here's how it goes. When Damon was in the Dark Realms, he had a vision of his son Hulf, but as an adult. In Ashford, fighting the dragon, fighting the master in its dragon form. In Haldrith, traversing the landscape of the Southern Island, which is now called South Escubar, just a Southern Island. And he now believes with confidence that his son is alive. And he maybe even saw Edwin as a spirit, because Edwin's dead. That's fact. So while they're on top of the roof, Edwin remembers, or I'm sorry, Morter, keep forgetting the names here. Damon remembers after having a romantic moment with his wife, remembers Hulf. Like he's getting flashbacks of Hulf and Edwin on their little adventures, trying to stop the master, things that Damon does not comprehend entirely. Doesn't know the story about Hulf, but he sees Hulf. He knows it's his son. So he walks up to Morter, puts his hand on his shoulder, and says, "Listen, thank you for saving me, Blair. I have to tell you something. I feel I've been lying to you this entire time. Remember, I retconned it to where he is the biological father of Hulf and Morter. That's been set in stone now. That's official lore. But he says, this entire time I'm lying to myself. I don't know if it's because of the exposure to the Dark Realms or purely by chance. I believe I saw your brother, my son, alive. And Edwin. And then when he's trying to recall, Morter is shocked after. Remember, Morter and Ellery had that conversation. Recap the flashback. She says, "How did you take him out? How did you defeat? How did you best Tegan?" And also consider maybe he's just trying to show off. So everything I just told you in the first part of this episode, was maybe just him exaggerating the fight. Maybe a fluke happened and Tegan tripped on a cup or something, or the chair, and fell forward and knocked himself out on the door frame, which then Ellery went proceed to knock him out, crush his skull. But that could be potential. That could be a potential comedic moment. But back to Morter. Morter says, "Hulf, my brother." And Damon's like, "Yes, I believe I saw him at the Dark Realms. I saw Haldrith." And when he says Haldrith, Ellery's like, "Haldrith? That bastard back there was talking about Haldrith nonstop. Something about some kind of trade deal or some kind of big deal to going down there." And so Glara also pitches in, saying she briefly heard the guard in the prison that they knocked out talking with some other members of the family, saying, I also heard something about Haldreth, some kind of recruiting. She said some kind of like recruitment going on down there. So Damon looks to everybody and says, "So that's it, Haldreth. If we go to Haldreth, we might be able to find, your my son, your brother Morter. Halt, he could be alive." And Morter's like, "Wait. But what are the chances of what if the Dark Realms was just messing with your mind, Dad?" And Damon's like, "It's quite possible, but I but you saw it with your own eyes. You and me were in the Dark Realms together. You saw a lot of that could have been real. Whether it was manipulated, it could have been real." And Mortar's thinking, it's a possibility. I mean, what do we have to lose? If there's something going on down there that has a Hulk involved, we can we can help. We'll be able to see him. We'll be able to find him. Edwin even. And I remember they don't know Edwin's dead. So while they're talking, I just thought of Blair's perspective. Blair says, "I was imprisoned for who knows how long, and now you want to go on another adventure for what Ellery told me across the land to the southern island that despises our people and leave me behind." Mortar says, "Mother, I don't think that'll be the case. Father," and he tries to convince his father, "you have to stay here. You've done enough. You've you need to rest. I will go on our family behalf to find my brother." This will be remember, I'm doing moves in this episode. This will be a compel because um, Damon wants to go find his son. He hasn't seen him for 30 years or so. This will be a compel. He wants him to stay with Blair. Blair has been in prison. She needs hospitality. She needs care. Vice versa. He needs hospitality. He needs care. These two need each other. Ellery is remaining out of this. This is a family affair. Ellery says, "Look, while you three hash these things out, I gotta go take care of this mansion. My people are surrounding the building. We need to make sure there are no other members of the Corwood family, left alive." And Mortar's thinking, he's neutral good. He's not exactly like lawful good. Like, don't you dare kill any more innocent lives. He's like, he extends his hand out and he proposes to shake Ellery's hand. So let's pause the moment between the father and Mortar, and let's do a test your bond. So this will be a circumstance. It's not necessarily a negative thing, but he extends his hand out. Well, actually, this probably won't be test your bond. I think it's just a narrative moment. He's not trying to stop her. He's he's just thanking her. So okay, he thanks her. He extends his hand out. She grabs his hand and thanks him, and she nods. She looks to she looks to Damon. She nods. She looks to Clara and says, she walks up to Clara and whispers, "By the way, there was nothing between us. I'm just a friend." Claire's like, she she approves. So Ellery jumps in cinematically off the building and lands she goes to do her own thing. So let's add a big moment here in the timeline. I don't typically do this, but I feel this is a big factor, a big change for the story. So with Corwood, it's now, I'm going to say, a government. We don't know what kind yet. The rebels, the Union, have taken over the settlement. The Corwood family Corwood family regime, as I've been calling them at this point, is defeated. Now, factions, which is indeed what the Union is, they have taking over Corwood. Let's see, free Corwood from the current power structure. Let's see. Rebuild Corwood into a powerful settlement, or let's say trading hub. Okay, the leader is now it's Sarah slash. Oh, that's right, Sarah. I forgot. Shoot, this whole time, where was Sarah at? I completely lost about Sarah. That's what happens when you have like 5 different characters. Okay, Sarah was up there the whole time, and Sarah, uh, he saw Ellery. They hugged. He thanked her, and she promised to handle things from here because he's sick. So he's been kind of hanging around, sitting down, resting. And when she came back, he smiled and hugged her, and they caught up on some old. They exchanged information, details about what happened. Okay, so Sarah's there too. I almost forgot about Sarah, but let's go back to the. Whoops. Let's go back to the details here. So it is Sarah. That's indeed true. Now the Corwood family, I'm going to say, is mostly disbanded. Corwood lawful evil. I'm going to say is probably, if I'm tracking real time here, let's say 50 minus. Spread influence. The leader Tegan is dead, and the governing body, that's no longer true. I think I probably can also. Nope, I can't do a cross or a cross to that. So they are. They really have no operations at this moment. Dealing potential. So I'm going to say they were defeated by the Union Rebellion. And then we have to go to our character list and also update how Tegan is also dead. Now, let's see here. His occupation is no longer valid. He is basically killed by Ellery. There we go. So Tegan has been taken out. And I think we can also do timeline here with the following. So we'll do Corwood, let's say, I'll call it Corwood Freed. So basically, Morter and company defeated the Corwood family regime. Now, let's see, Sarah of the Union is going to take over the settlement and work alongside the settlers. There we go. I believe that's probably enough. Now, let's go back to Morter. So Morter is talking with his father, trying to convince him not to come with him. And I believe role-wise, this might be worth a compel. I'm using the moves this one. So let's pull the dice up here. Oh yeah, by the way, dice, some changes. We have this white on black text white die on a dark background to help with help visually. With the oracles, we have the black dice, so you can see it better on the white background, like so. And it's just a T1. It's just a D100 and D10, so it's all the same. Over my ugly mug here, it's the usual action die and the 2 challenge dice. So we're compelling. Our bond here is technically the father, and we're going to use charm, convince. So heart. My character's heart is 2, plus 1 is 3. So we're going to roll. And that's going to be 9 total. It's a weak hit. So with this game, from here in this episode, my momentum will be standard practice in the game's rules. Only using it to change a miss to a hit on a die. So this is 9, which means it's a weak hit. On a weak hit, we get what on the strong hit, we have +1 momentum, but there is going to be some pushback. And just increase momentum to +3. Basically, you ask something of you in return. which makes complete sense. So let's see what father asks a mortar in return. This will be most likely action. Oh, there we go. There's our first roll. 80, which will be, I cannot see it. I can just remove it. Change. And let's roll again. We have 88, which will be knowledge. Change knowledge. Right. So I think what this means is, whoopsie, sorry about that. What this means that he wants to find out. He will stay here. That's obvious. He will stay here. Glare hugs him, thanking him to stay, pleased to hear it. But he wants to find out the moment Morter finds Holth alive. He wants to find out somehow. Some way, somehow, whether it's by telegram, carrier pigeon, magical artifact that can communicate between the realms. He wants to find out some way. And he is trying to get Morter to promise. Morter says, Father, I promise. The moment I find out that Wolf is alive, I will text you. I mean, how else? Magical stone, I can probably assume. So let's see, while they're talking, Ellery and Sarah, are off to the side. I'm going to pull back where she just leaves, because I forgot Sarah was there, so they're talking. They're planning out their process here. Like, how are they going to fully take over the mansion, cleanse it of its prior occupants, etc. Sarah hears this, and Sarah stands up a little slowly. He coughs a little bit. He says, listen, you three helped me, or you X amount of people helped me. The least I can do is repay you for your efforts. And Mortar's like, what do you mean? So, Sarah says, listen, this kind of magic is not common, but I know someone who might be able to help with what you just proposed. My contact might have a certain magical artifact that can have you and your father here commune, no matter the distance. This northern island, the southern islands, doesn't matter. Though it is temporary. The minute you use it, it cannot be used again. And so Mortar's thinking, that's a great idea. And so, basically, after that, this actually might be the first roll for the background valve. So it officially starts now. We have to go, and I chose extreme, which might not be enough, but that's the 2 ticks per box. So basically, we're going to roll plus wits and go to this store or this location that Sarah has recommended, has told us about. It could be a store, building, a hideout, etc. It doesn't matter. If we zoom out a bit on the narrative, it's a location, and he gave us the directions to go there. So Morter is on his own. Remember, Morter does not have any help here. So we'll roll with wits, and this will be a journey, I believe. So if I'm going to quest moves, just to double check, because this is a background val, so does this actually require a different type of roll? And based on what I'm seeing here, that's suffer moves. We have, here we go, quest moves. Reach a milestone, which we are not doing just yet. I'm going to do a journey move. So I'm kind of turning the background val into a journey mechanic, and we will be rolling the undertake a journey. So this first one is going to be rolling plus wits. Okay? And I will include the bond with everybody around us, but just +1. So here we go. +1, and wits is 3, so that's +4 total. And we have 2 9s. That is not good at all. 2 9s is a miss, and it's a fail. Even with the 4, that's going to be 5 total on that roll. That is still a miss. That's unfortunate. So which means, on a miss, you are waylaid by perilous event, pay the price. So, We gotta figure out what pay the price is. Okay, so we do have a location, but when we get there, something obviously has happened. I'm gonna. Oh yeah, my pay the price is actually running on the screen here. I almost forgot. Okay, let's pull the dice up and see what we roll. 93. It forces you to act against your best interests. It forces you to act against your best interests. Our best interest is to go to the location and find this magical artifact, but for some reason, we can't get there. The location. Let's actually check a plot twist. I don't think the pay the price is working for me here. So let's roll once again. And that's a 7. So 7, a dark secret is revealed. Well, I could say, and this will make sense, when we get back to this, when we arrive to this location that Sarah has provided us, it has been burned down, has been destroyed, which leaves just Morter. This is just Morter. He is hopeless. He just promised his father, who probably is with him. So Morter, Damon, Clara, and Morter are together. Ellery and Sarah are back doing their thing in the main mansion, the manor. But they arrive to the building, and it's burnt down. And it's been burnt down very recently. So, I can't mark any progress. A very valuable item that could have helped us commune is no longer an option. So, let's check our character sheets here. How will each character respond? Well, I think Morter might have a backup plan, possibly, but the journey we rolled was a miss. So we're waylaid by a perilous event. The perilous event is this building being burned down. Not necessarily a bad thing happening upon our characters, health-wise, physically, but it's a blocking the story. How does Damon respond here? He's brave, skilled, and impressed. Well, I think brave, skilled, and impressed. Him and Morter, father son, they're trying to think of an alternative, and so they're going to gather information. We are going to roll, gather information, right now, and this will be an assist from his father, so +1 a bond. So this is plus which is 3, +4 total on this roll. We got 6 total, and it's a weak hit. So a weak hit, the information complicates your quest, introduces a new danger. We take +1 momentum. So, unfortunately, there might be an option, but we have to. I could use pay to price. Ask the Oracle if unsure. So, let's check either pay to price or plot twist, or even action theme. Let's do action theme. There's our first roll. 96. Communicate. Well, that's obviously what we're trying to prepare. Communicate. 62. Communicate family. I mean, how obvious can it be? Communicate family. That's what we're trying to do. It doesn't really help me here. The dice is telling me to my face, yeah, that's what we're trying to do here. Communicate family. Does it mean that we have to communicate on another means, perhaps? Damon looks to Claire and she says, "Look, if we can't get the stone, I have to go with my son." Claire's like, she's not sure. She's torn. She's not sure. And Morter then, ironically, Morter says, "No, Father, you stay here. I'll go see my people. I have a source." He's basically talking about Moss. He's like, "I know someone might be able to help. She knows the entire settlement. She knows the layout of this place in the back of her hand. She might be able to help." So we got to find Moss. So the weak hit is Moss. We don't know where she is. She typically just is everywhere. She is on the rooftop. She has multiple safe houses in the area. Remember, she's a neutral party that helps if the price is right. So we have to do another Undertaker journey to find Moss. So Sarah, I'm not Sarah, Damon and Glara go back home to the harbor. Let's say their house is near the harbor, the docks, and they go rest up. Return to normal life, whatever is normal at this point. Meanwhile, Undertaker Journey, we have to go find Moss once again. So this will be Undertaker Journey and rolling plus wits. But however, we could include a bond. Maybe we do know of Moss. Maybe Morter knows of Moss's typical characteristics, her patterns, where she travels, where she walks, where she hangs. From earlier, much earlier in this campaign, we saw her outside a shop or something. We caught her on the corner of our eye on top of the building. So maybe Morter goes there. So let's roll for Journey. And we wits plus the bond, which is +4. So let's go for it. There we go. It's going to be, not great rolls today, 5. I have 4 for momentum, but I'm not doing my house rule. I'm doing it by the book, and I cannot decrease that 6 down to a hit. So it's a weak hit. So a weak hit would be, for Journey, on a weak hit, you reach a waypoint, mark progress, but suffer -1 supply. Okay, so technically we do find her. -1 supply. We're now down to 3. And you reach a waypoint, so we find her. She is not on top of the building, but she is in her hideout. We find the hideout, and I'm going to now mark a box, just 2 ticks, because of that. I don't think I can, perhaps? Oh, okay, it does say mark progress. My apologies. My mistake. Okay, we find her. We find, she finds us. Let's say she finds us. We're in the alleyway. We're looking around where we were before, and she pops out of the corner in a robe. She's like, "You again? What are you doing here? I thought you might have been with your father." And Mortar's like, "No." So Mortar fills her in with the details. She she's reluctantly, she does want to help, but she's even technically. So, however, she's considering all the amount of things that she stole and looted from the Corwood family. She's considering, okay, just this one time, and we're even. Any future favors you have to pay. So he asked her, "I am seeking an item of magical potency that allows me to communicate from great distances afar. From great afar." And she says, "That's dramatic. So you're looking for some kind of artifact you can speak into and another person can hear it across the land?" He's like, "Yes. I'm going to Haldreth, the city of Haldreth." Moss is like, "The city of Haldreth? That's a week's travel south, or a month maybe. Do you have a horse?" And Moore's like, "What happened to my horse? Like, we forgot the horse." I guarantee we can probably find the horse. Anyways, does she have the item we seek? Or is the princess in another castle? Let's check the oracle. So, this will be a regular roll. I'm just asking a question. This is 75% chance. I'm knowing her, she's resourceful, I'm assuming she does. 75% chance she has something to that extent. That's a 16. She does. And now let's roll for the action and theme of it. Might help me decide where it is. 3 to 5. Create 67. Create war. Create war. Create conflict. This has to create a problem. She says if we are given this, it may cause you a lot of problems. This is a highly valuable artifact, and I don't just typically give it out to anybody. It can be used, but only once per day. Or like once per month or something. It has some really high restriction a really high, what do you call it, time up. So she says, however, this thing seems to attract bad luck. I keep it locked up. I've never used it before, but it's the only thing I got. So Mortar's like, okay, I'll take it. She says, well, and Mortar's like, please, this is for my family. I believe my brother's alive. She's like, you have a brother? She screams, surprised. Mortar's like, yes, yes, yes. Maybe it's like, well, I had a brother. We thought he was dead, and he might be alive. And Moss is like, you just have this epiphany that he might be alive. And Mortar's like, well, my father had a vision. Moss starts laughing, which is funny because this world has magic to an extent. Anyways, Moss is like, fine, fine. She shows him into her hideout. It's one of many of her hideouts. It's just a small little corner uh, closet outside in the alleyway. And she goes up to a safe, she unlocks it, and she gives it the item. So now we have this item. I will detail it in the next episode, trying to figure out if it's a stone or like a pet rock, some like an enchanted pet rock. Now what the hell? It's just a rock. There's two of them. They're two pet rocks, and that gives our supply +4. So what I'll do is go to our character sheet, our digital character sheet here, and detail that now Mortar has two enchanted rocks that can communicate with each other, like walkie-talkies, but they bring negative, let's say, bad luck. Well, I don't know. Bad luck might be a stretch here. Create war. It seems to. I'm trying to think how this will work. Because, like in Fate, you have high trouble. You have your trouble, which is an aspect that can be either worked against you or for you. So I'm trying to think how these two pet rocks would bring some kind of weird circumstance or condition on our character. Let's check the Oracle. Or heck, let's do plot twist. What do these rocks do when they're used? Maybe the condition's only when it's used. 82. The truth of relationship is revealed. Okay. I don't know. This is a tough one. I'll leave it up in the air. I have an idea. If anybody has been paying attention this far, please write in the comments below, what do you think these two rocks can do to each other? Or do to the users when they are used? Not just a passive condition that happens 24/7, but when they're used. It has to cause some kind of spark in the narrative. So what I'll do is go back to our character sheet here, but they bring a condition when used. I'm going to put TBA right there. So they bring a condition when used in bold. There we go. I think that's fair for having an item that it's not OP, but it's really handy. But it should have an anchor, a circumstance, a condition, whether or not it's negative. I'll let you guys decide that, and I would appreciate it if you do comment on that. If I don't see any comments, as usual, I'll just try to come up with myself, or I'll have one ready before next episode. So we thank her, we leave, we go back to uh, our house. We haven't been there in a while. It's going to be back home. Galera and Sarah are talking to each other in their dining room, in their kitchen table, like like our old flashback, and we smile. We walk up. Damon is happy to see us. He stands up and says, "You're back so soon. Did you find something?" Claire's also interested. She looks up, and we put a rock on the table. And Damon takes the rock. He says, "We got plenty of these." And Mortar laughs and says, "No, no, no. This, from my source, tells me that this item can commune with this one. Two identical rocks. They look like rocks from a beach or something." And Damon says, "Okay, how?" I don't know. I forgot to completely involve that. So I'm asking myself this question. Let's just check in the oracle. How do these rocks communicate? Is there like a phrase you have to say that triggers the magic? Let's roll and find out. Let's say to use the magic. I think that looks like 92. Distract and then distract 89. Distract truth. Oh, that's pretty cool. So you have to say a lie about the other person to speak into it. I think that's interesting. So I don't have a page in my notes here that is about items, but let's say uh, I'll put here quest items only. The magical walkie-talkie, magical stones. Let's see. I'll do this. Magical stones. Okay, so here's what I got. The user must speak in. I just decided to add it to his little timeline here. The user must speak into the stone by telling a lie about the intended recipient of the message. Can only be used once a month. That's what he tells Damon. And he says, so do I just keep this close by all the time? And Morter says, I believe so. The person who gave this to me has never tried it themselves, but that's what they told me. And Damon sits back down and says, I guess that's the way it'll have to be. Good luck, my son. And thank you. So they both hug each other. Uh, Glare and Damon insist that he stays the night just to relax, rest, supply. So we'll do all that stuff. So here's what we'll do. We'll make camp here. Yeah, we'll make camp and see how it goes. This will be supply, and it's home, so I'll give it a +1. Our supply is currently +4, so it'll be +5 because it's a bond. I'm going to add a bond to that. So let's roll it. We're making camp with +5. 9. That's a strong hit and matches. That gives us a +5, but also for that, it says on a strong hit, we may choose 2. We recuperate, we take 1 health, but I'm going to say we actually, with those matches, typically it's story related, but I'm going to just give it a mechanical benefit. We're going to heal fully to 5. And also, the other thing I choose is take +1, either spirit or focus. So, I kind of cheated and I resupplied with this, but at the same time, we are home, so most likely there is stuff here to help resupply. So I'm skipping that. I'm going to take +1 momentum, and with the match considered, I'm going to increase the spirit to 4. But he's still a little stressed out about now that, well, let's actually decrease the spirit. Let's raise it to +3. He's happy that his brother might be alive and he's home, but he has to go across the entire landscape by himself with no help. So that's not exactly a confidence booster for him. So we are at officially +5 health, +3 spirit, +5 supply, and +5 spirit. Momentum, sorry. +5 momentum. And there you go. So he's now asleep. Next morning, you hear the rooster. That's where we're going to end this episode. All right? So that was eventful. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed my little retelling flashback / comedic, possibly lie from Morter himself. And yeah, that's really it. So let's go ahead with the outro. That's all for today. Even though I did 2 episodes today, so hopefully that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed this telling. Please subscribe, like, share, and most importantly, comment. See you in the next entry.